So we're almost at the end of the year. What a year. Transformative, painful, beautiful, amazing, clumsy, graceful, and everything under the sun. Today, I just would ask you to start to think about what is the greatest lesson that you took from this year and how are you going to apply that moving forward. Welcome to Body of Truth. I'm Rebecca Windsor. Body of Truth was born after years of suppressing my inner voice, of kind of pretending that everything was okay. The world as I knew it upended very quickly. My 25-year marriage ended with a phone call, seemingly overnight. Really, it was years in the making, and my son left for college. So for a year, I floundered as I kind of figured out what I wanted to be and what I didn't want to be. I needed to come to grips with some things about myself that were not easy to look at. I needed to take stock of my responsibility in the failure of my marriage. I was really good at being a victim, but I really needed to take some ownership there and just manifest things into my life that I knew I needed to change about my inner story about myself to bring in new and better things for me. So in order to do that, and the greatest lesson and blessing that I got from that time was the ability to manifest these changes physically through my body. I talk about the simple techniques that I use in these videos where I was able to kind of just give myself very simple physical cue and reminders. So as I started to make these decisions, they became habits, which became the way my whole paradigm of decision making became automatic. And then I was able to usher in physical manifesting new changes into my physical world because my whole mindset had changed as well already. So as I look back on this year, the greatest lesson I learned was one, to let go a little. Now, I have a lot of trouble with the word submission. As someone who used to be passive to the point of an inert pillow on the floor and just absorbing everything that came my way and thinking that that was grace, I have more recently begun to love the fight and the struggle and to say my truth and to be true to myself, right? But that's not the same as holding tight control. I am someone who, on the outside, seems very easygoing, although intense. But I really fight digging my fingers into control and manipulate the direction, the flow, the outcome, my efforts. So it was a real lesson to just kind of let things flow and unfold as they're going to. I do have faith that God's plan for me is far better than my own. That I always, as humans, we put a container on the top of even our wildest dreams. And if we fully relax into the future, not without effort, but I've always felt that if we show God how bad we want something by really working towards it, He will ease the strain and the pressure towards it, especially if it's the right direction for you. And things will start to really flow for you. So it's like the control actually slows you down because you think you're being more directive, but really you're just kind of sticking up all the gears that should be flowing smoothly with divine guidance. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn because for someone who was passive for so long, taking control feels so amazing. But my personality, I slip all the way the other way and I start to feel like I've got to control and manipulate every outcome in my life through effort, through hustle, through even subconscious manipulation. So that definitely for me was a very, very deep lesson for this year. I found it in all different areas of my life. I found it with making peace between really being pushing towards new body goals and allowing my body the proper rest and recovery that it needs. I tend to overtrain. Of really listening deeply to God's direction, even if it doesn't really feel like what you want. It always winds up being better than what you even thought you could imagine. With balance, this has been so interesting to me because I've been forced by my partner to kind of open up and see what is occurring, not future fuck every fucking second to death. And so that's been a huge gift there too. And it spills over into my other relationships too, even my intimate friendships. I am allowing them and giving them more space to breathe and blossom. So that's been huge. And then lastly, the way I look at my finances and my career has really changed. I really thought I needed to compartmentalize myself and hold back my outgoing side. And I find that the more core of me that I'm able to marry into every facet of my life, the more robust all of the connections I make are. And so the more robust all of my dealings, business or otherwise, become. So for me, that was my biggest reflection. And I just want to thank you. We've passed the 60 video mark. And I did promise that I would upload one every day. And I so appreciate your comments. And I love hearing about where you're at and what you think about these concepts that I lay out for you. Some of them are really contemplative and they'll take some time. Some I do look to poke you a little bit to get your reaction and see how you are processing any of these ideas, if they resonate with you, if they appeal to you. It's always helpful to me. What all this is about for me is to contribute, and hopefully that the right person hears the right message at the right time. And I'm just going to keep showing up because you never know when that moment's going to be. So today I invite you to look back along this year, and what was either a lesson that was a negative lesson that you learned that you will no longer have that in your life, you won't tolerate it, or what is something that you kind of learned and you were grateful for. And even the hard lessons in time, you really can be beautiful teachers as well. So I look forward to hearing from you. That's always such a highlight, and so it really touches me. And I will see you tomorrow.